Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time, live from FedEx Field here on the A to Z Sports live streaming network. Hope everybody is having a great time coming off of the third straight win for the Titans in what was incredibly dramatic fashion. We're going to go through who was the MVP of today's victory for Tennessee. We're going to talk about, is the way that they're winning, does it make you feel more confident at this point, or does it cause more concern? 3 straight wins is 3 straight wins. But at this point, it is, it came down to the wire. And frankly, in this game, they got absolutely bailed out in a big spot. But nonetheless, a win is a win. Jackie Hulbert says, God damn, that was ugly. It was. It was a hideous football game for anybody who watched it start to finish the way that we did here from FedEx. And yes, it is a situation where you take the W if you're a Titan player, coach, executive, Titans fan, whatever. But it does remain that was a very, very big spot that they were absolutely bailed out of. And, so it goes. So now they head into the bye week, and we're going to talk about all these things. We'll do this as a free site. The best thing that I saw on the internet today as well. And certainly enjoy the conversation here together. Daniel Anderson says, saw Big Buck with Tehran at the game today. Wasn't pretty, but a win is a win. Yes, indeed, that is the case. And we can talk about it throughout the course of this evening's show. Before we get started, though, need you to share this show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. If you're hanging out with us on Twitter, please retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you are on YouTube or Twitch, subscribe to the channel, throw a like on the video if you would be kind enough to do so. And we would greatly appreciate that as well. Facebook Live, you can share now to public. It's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, and your Facebook friends can join the conversation that way, like Christine McCord or Jarrett Puckett on Facebook Live. Share now to public is how you get these things going. And with that being said, we can go ahead and start the show. Welcome to A to Z Sports Prime Time, not from the Superbook Sports Studios, but live from Landover, Maryland at FedEx Field. B Birds 18 says, hey, you stayed at the stadium. No mice, I take it. I haven't seen any yet, but perhaps the cookies that a fan of the primetime show was kind enough to bake for me, perhaps that will lure the vermin out. Maybe there'll be a mice chewing on a cookie by the time I get done with the primetime show tonight. Proud as always to be presented to you by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is where you go for the best car buying experience humanly possible. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Gary Ashton, for your dream address without the stress and to sell your home for more. Trust the team that your favorite teams trust at GaryAshton.com. TrueMav Fitness, a new way to work out. The place that I am headed directly after I get home in Nashville because I had so many damn chocolate chip cookies today. And will set you right on your fitness journey, just as they have done for me. 200 by Super Bowl is the goal, and we'll get there together at TrueMapFitness.com. And Superbook Sports, where you go to wager on all the action this football season. Get in on the action with the Superbook Sports app, and they'll match your first bet up to $1,000, whether that bet wins or loses. Excuse me, I got a bit of a stuffy nose. Danny Sutherland says, Buck cheating on the diet. Yes, I did cheat on the diet today. I mean, listen, when somebody bakes you a bunch of cookies and they sit them at your press box seat, and it's a fan of the show, I gave one to Koharski to make sure that they weren't poisoned. Paul had a couple, Tehran had a couple, Jimmy had a couple, and then I had several more. So all of us seem to be doing fine and well, but I made sure to test it out before I dove in the way that it went. Matt Stanley says, can Gary Ashton play left tackle? Yes. At this point, the offensive line situation is tragic. The offensive situation in general is a tough scene, but listen, the defense made the play today. What David Long did in the end zone directly behind me, I guess that would be over my right shoulder on the left side of the screen, I suppose, if we're doing the weatherman thing. I'll slide over 2 yards. Well, you can't see it because my nameplate is right in the way, but 2 yards is all they had to get. 2 yards is all they had to get to be able to win this game, to be able to beat the Titans and to end their 3-game losing streak, the Commanders. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because David Long made a play at the end of the game that was incredible, impeccable, as a matter of fact. And in looking at this situation, the defense is good. The defense gave up some plays today, but they've been kind of continuing to do this in a way. You give up the yardage, but you don't break when it comes to the red zone basically from 20 yards in. They've been one of the best units in the sport. And so I want to ask you this question to start the show, your Two Rivers Ford take. Who is the MVP of this Titans game? Let me know on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We'll talk about it together. Who was the MVP of this Titans game? Jay Streets on Facebook Live says, I loved the win, but definitely some concerns, Buck. Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Listen, and I was thinking about this when I was writing my post-game column that's up at A-to-Z-Sports.com. You guys can always read the stuff that I write and all the other great content that's being produced by all the other A-to-Z Sports bloggers. I've written the same story, it feels like 3 weeks in a row. They're a deeply flawed football team, and yet they get a win. They're a deeply flawed football team. The offense is not good, but they got a win. It felt like I've been writing the same thing 3 weeks in a row at this point, and the story has largely remained the same. So it's safe to assume that this is the trajectory that they're basically going to be on. And at least for the offense in the spot, the offense isn't getting any better. Like, they're going into the bye, they're going to get some healthy bodies back, but it's all going to be on defense, right? Because the guys that Nate Davis didn't play today, so I safe to assume that Nate Davis will return after the bye, and Treylon Burks was placed on IR when last we talked, and obviously he'll miss 4 games, including this one, so 3 games left. Not 3 weeks, remember, but 3 games. So the bye does not count towards Treylon Burks' time served. So who was the MVP of this game? Let's talk about it together. It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it's presented by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, where you go for guarantees unlike any other business, because interest rates fluctuate all over the place, no matter what it is that you are looking at interest rates for. But Two Rivers Ford will lock in a 2.9% APR for 60 months for all qualified buyers when you custom order a 2023 model year Ford. That's an Escape, Explorer, Bronco Sport, Mustang, F-150, or Edge. Two Rivers Ford will get you covered and give you $500 bonus cash on top of their already low prices. So custom order your next Ford at Two Rivers Ford. So who's the MVP of the game? David Long says Robert Fury. David Long made an incredible play on that interception. There's no question. I think MVP goes to Derek King Henry, says Joseph Mitchell on Facebook Live. I think that co-MVP Tartan Henry says Derek Othello West. Tart almost had another interception. Shit, Jeff almost had another interception. Jeff almost had an interception today. Because I don't know if you noticed on the play before the interception actually took place, Jeff and Tart both dropped into coverage. Now, we talked to Jeff after the game, and he said he didn't know if Tart was supposed to drop also, but that was something that ended up happening, and they almost came up with an interception on second down as opposed to third down. But if you're asking me who the MVP of the game was for the Titans, I don't want to take any credit away from David Long. He made a great read. They've been practicing. He said it was a situation they'd gone over and over and over again in red zone work for the Titans all week long in practice, and he recognized the play, made a great play on the ball.
Wentz, quick pass, and it's intercepted! David Long with the interception, and he's finally brought down near midfield. Carson Wentz intercepted as time expires, and the Titans win 21-17.
Carson Wentz was the MVP of the game for the Titans. I mean, he threw it away. He tried to throw it away twice. Christian Fulton could have had an interception on a pass that Wentz was just trying to throw away, and he didn't put enough on it. He didn't throw it into the stands. He lofted it up enough to where Christian Fulton, after a tough pass interference call, could have made a play on the ball. You've got a situation with Long, who, by the way, makes the play. To David Long's credit, like, again, I'm not trying to take anything away from David Long, but I mean, be damned if Carson Wentz didn't win them that game, didn't win the Titans that game today, because I don't want to say every time, because I talked about this last Wednesday with Greg Cosell on our podcast, The Install. And Greg said, a lot of people attribute it to these Wentzian plays, but it's not necessarily that. Like, that's just a product of not watching all the games. And I get where Greg is coming from, but also Carson does make a tremendous amount of bad plays in big spots. It's really tough to ignore. Now, Jamie Dale on Facebook Live says that was a grown man play by David Long Jr. There is no disputing. And again, I say to you, David Long made a great play to win them that game. But if you're asking me who put them in the best possible position to win that game, well, there's no question. The answer is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is just an objectively bad football player. In fact, I believe that he should be benched. Now, their rookie draft pick, Sam Howell, wasn't even active today. I don't know who the Commanders' backup quarterback would be with Howell still or sitting on the inactives list. But, I mean, that's the third win in 2 years, says Derek West on Facebook Live. Wentz gave us 3 wins in 2 years, never played it down for us. That's what I'm saying. Like, Carson Wentz is really, really not a good player at this point. Derek R says, by the way, that was a touchdown by King Henry Buck. Derek, I didn't see the replay. Here's what I'll say. Well, let me explain this after I tell you about our friends at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage, because I was absolutely wrong on that, and I want to address that comment. But first, I'll tell you about the person who can get you your dream address without the stress. That is the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage at GaryAshton.com. That is where you go for your dream address without the stress. That is where you go for the intel edge you need to succeed. The Ashton Real Estate Group is the best in the business for a reason. Mike Vrabel got his house from the Gary Ashton team. Preds head coach John Hines, who also got a win this weekend. I think, in fact, did Nashville SC win? Does anybody? So Nashville SC, the Tennessee Vols, the Tennessee Titans, and the Preds, the quadruple winning weekend for the state of Tennessee in a big spot. How about that? But anyway, GaryAshton.com will get you in a position to succeed with that intel edge. Trust the best team that your favorite teams trust at GaryAshton.com. So going back to Derek R's question. So there's 2 touchdowns that were, one was overturned. Well, it wasn't called a touchdown on the field, the Chig play. Now the Chig play, I did see the replay, and the angle that I saw was his knee down, and I thought his knee was down first before his hand went out of bounds, but the hand out of bounds is what caused them to not consider that a touchdown. You could go either way with it, I felt, but they obviously didn't call it a touchdown on the field. Then there's the Derrick Henry touchdown where he reaches the ball over to break the plane. Now, where we sit I don't know if you guys can see, I don't know if that's the right angle. There's a little TV directly behind me. In fact, that's a TV right there. It's a TV, and the TV in front of me in the press box was frozen. So I couldn't see replays. I could just see what was in front of me in the field in this end zone directly behind me. So what I saw was Derrick, the body, physically get stopped before the line. What I did not see was him reach the ball over the top of the defense, as I try to talk into the microphone and still make the motion at the same time, reach the ball over the top of the defense with 2 hands and break the play that way and score the touchdown. So I did get that wrong because I saw it initially, didn't see the replay, and I was like, oh my God, that they counted that as a touchdown? That's wild to me. And then obviously that was something that was correctly called a touchdown. Gino says, even though I don't like his mindset, Buck, football teams today don't care how they win. It's not the same mentality as the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Winning ugly is fashionable and accepted. Well, winning is accepted. Yes, you're correct. And listen, they don't do it pretty. They're hideous. I mean, they really are an ugly football team to watch offensively. Here's what I'll say. They have won 3 straight games. Mike Vrabel is now 23-11 in 1-score games. That's crazy. Like, 1-score games in the NFL are coin flips. So they've clearly gotten something figured out. But yes, winning ugly is absolutely accepted. That is so, because the parity in the NFL is totally different than it was in the 80s and 90s. Like, this league is effectively crafted to make sure that there are no singularly great teams all season long. Now, there are singularly great players that can elevate it, but But unless you have one of these fire-breathing quarterbacks like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, like, most for the most part, like, these teams are the same. The talent is not that much better or worse for the Commanders than it is for the Titans. I mean, you saw the Commanders' offensive line without 3 starting offensive linemen. They played exceptionally better than the Tennessee Titans offensive line did. Down a couple of pieces as well, but still, like, it's really not that big a difference. So, yes, winning ugly is absolutely accepted, and they have, to their credit, done that. Now, when they get to the playoffs, I don't think they can win this way, but we're not there yet. We're in week 5. They're heading into the bye. They're going to get some dudes healthy on defense. And at this point, you have to give them credit where credit is due. That's how it goes. So looking at these things and all the different ways to kind of dissect it, do you feel more confident or are you concerned about the way that the Titans are winning these games? Let's talk about it together on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch in the comments section, wherever it is that you're viewing with us. Are you more confident after today's win, or are you still concerned about the way that the Titans are winning these games? We will discuss at length together right after I remind you that Superbook Sports is where you go to wager on all the action this football season. Superbook Sports gives you the best shot at Vegas humanly possible. You can take the fight to the best odds makers on the strip at the Superbook in Las Vegas with their easy, clean, and efficient app. Superbook Sports has all the best lines and odds boosts on local teams and teams out of market. Superbooksports.com is where you go for terms and conditions and where they'll match your first bet up to $1,000, whether it wins or loses. Superbook.com for more information. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. So, looking at this situation for the Titans, you more concerned or confident given that these wins continue to come? Anthony Clay says concerned. Their offense is putrid. Let's see. Aaron George says our line sucks, not feeling good about it. Kedrick KB Bell says more concerned at this point. It ain't pretty, but it's a win, says Randy Himberg. Yes, I agree. So here's what I'll say about the Titans, okay? I think that and Derek Othello West says, I think says it best. I can't read into it no more, Buck. I'm just enjoying the ride at this point. And maybe that's the best way to do it. Because like there's all manner of reasons why they should lose these damn games. And I still don't think they're that good of a football team on the whole. I mean, so I wrote this number down. In fact, let me grab my handy dandy stat sheet that they give us after every game. Because I did make a note of this. Oh, actually, I had to look this up off the stat sheet. But so last year they were 24th with the number of percentage of explosive plays that they had over the course of a season. So explosive plays qualify as 20 or more yards on a play. They were 24th in the league. They dipped dramatically from year over year, from 2020 to 2021. Because unlike a lot of NFL teams, a lot of their explosive plays come from their rushing attack. They come from Derrick Henry, right? Like there's not a lot of NFL teams that can bank on a running back that can break 50, 60, 70, 80-yard touchdown runs on any given carry. So I look at them and say, well, all right, Derrick's back. Derrick's clearly playing at a high level, but the blocking is still trash. So are they substantially better as far as I got a bug buzzing around my face. The vermin have started to emerge here at FedEx Field. It's like 50 degrees out here. I don't know how there's even bugs still alive. But I went through and I looked at all their explosive plays. So 20 yards or more on the season, not counting penalties. Now penalties do count. Penalties can set up scoring drives. Defensive pass interference down the field can get you chunk yardage, can set you up in a position. It should not be discounted, but I just wanted to look at their offense without the penalties. So against the New York Giants, they actually had 7 plays of 20 yards or more without penalties. Against Buffalo, they had 0, of which you'll remember. I think their longest play was 19 yards. Vegas, they had 5. Indianapolis, 2. Today against Washington, 2. So that's 16 plays of 20-plus yards through 5 games. That's not a sustainable rate. That's not They had the big 61-yarder today, but today only 2 plays north of 20 yards or 20 yards or more without penalty. They don't have the thing that they need to compete. Like Gabe Davis for the Bills had more explosive plays on his own than the Titans' entire offense had today. They can't compete playing this style. I mean, they can compete on defense, but offensively, they can't keep pace with a lot of these teams that are able to get big chunk yardage down the field consistently, down after down, drive after drive, in ways that you need them to. Now, the defense is a big deal, and the defense is going to get healthier after the bye. But like somebody brought up, Gino says not sustainable, Buck, but you're incorrect, saying that they're not a good team. These injuries are coming back. But Gino, they're coming back on defense. Like the offense, you're not getting Taylor Lewan back. And like, what are the other injuries? Burks? And Burks maybe end up being a fine player. I don't want to discount Traylon. It's too early in his career. And he may end up being a good wide receiver. But what are you getting back after the bye offensively that's going to make a difference in this offense? Nate Davis? Maybe your rushing attack looks a little better. Maybe, Aaron Brewer is still going to be a starting left guard. He's not very good. Dennis Staley's still going to be your starting left tackle. He's not very good. Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine are still going to be your top wide receivers, and that's fine. Like NWI and Woods made a couple of plays today, but the protection was shit. Tannehill got sacked 5 times, and honestly should have been more if he didn't get rid of the football the way that he did. Like Tannehill played as well a game as humanly possible today. Gino says Burks, Phillips getting better, Henry better, Davis. Phillips is not getting better. Phillips had a terrible drop today. Phillips had a horrendous drop today, and they took away punt return duties from him. Like, maybe I'm not writing him off for his entire career. Of course, that's nonsense. But like, the offense is not changing dramatically. Like, they're not going to be a good offensive football team when we come out of the bye against the Colts. They have to live off this defense and play efficient, turnover-free football. Not turning over the ball is huge. And the only turnover today that was had was Carson Wentz from 2 yards out on that interception. So that's, that they are what they are, and that's fine, I guess, for the regular season. But, you don't have to worry about the playoffs yet. You're at the top of the division, which is not a place I thought you would be 5 weeks through. So to their credit, they have done that. But yeah, man, it's offensively, it is tough to watch them. It just really is. And you guys know this, I'm not trying to take away the win from you or them. I'm just pointing out the obvious that I think we all recognize, even if it is a big deal that they have won 3 straight. Absolutely, it's a big deal that they've won 3 straight. And with the Jags losing today, the Colts, you have the win over the Colts, and you play the Texans so you have the bye week, Colts at home, then on the road against the Texans. That will be the case. Jay Street says, but Buck, Vrabel can't keep pulling these young players. It'll mess up their confidence. Like who? Who are you talking about? Farley? Caleb Farley's just objectively bad. Like, respectfully, like I don't give a shit about Caleb Farley's confidence. This dude just tripped and fell and let the longest play of the Washington Commanders in the last 3 years. They haven't had a passing play like that in 3 seasons. And Farley just trips and falls and lets Diami Brown run for his first NFL touchdown. No, I don't care about his confidence. Get him out of there. He can't play. They know this. Pistol Grip says it correctly. He gets cooked on a regular basis. So they have had 6 explosive plays of 40-plus yards, okay? 6 plays of 40-plus yards that they've given up on defense. Caleb Farley has allowed 2 of those, including today, a 75-yard touchdown by Diami Brown. And he allowed also, that doesn't count in these 6 plays of 40-plus yards, but a 39-yard completion by Jake Kumaro. Like, if Mike Vrabel pulls Caleb Farley because he gives up a 75-yard touchdown, like, respectfully, fuck that guy's confidence. I don't care. If he can't play, don't put him out there. You're trying to win a game. And I'm sorry, I try not to cuss on these things or cuss like that on these things. I think it's a silly argument. Like, you're going to wreck the guy's confidence. No, the guy's inability to cover and to keep up with his task. He can't play. I don't care about his confidence. You're trying to win the game. Get him out of there. And they did. That's absolutely what they did. Like, honestly, we were talking amongst ourselves in the press box, Tehran, Karski, and myself, because we all sit next to each other on the road. And, Paul said something to the effect like, Paul, okay, think about this. Kaharski, who's not an easygoing human being in any stretch of the imagination. I love him to death, but, that's what it is. Paul said, I didn't have the heart to go talk to Caleb Farley. We feel bad for him now. I do kind of feel bad for him now, but also he's not helping. Move on. Maybe they'll get it fixed at some point. Maybe, maybe he'll be able to, maybe with more time spent, whatever. But his confidence is not down because they pulled him. His confidence is down because he can't play at this point. Matt Stanley says you need to have a swear jar, but instead of putting money in it, you have to eat cookies from it. I mean, there's still so many of these damn cookies left. Honestly, no more cookies at this point. I came to Washington and I'm going to leave a diabetic at this point. Which by the way, I really appreciate Zach who baked the cookies for us. I think Zach, if I remember correctly, I met him at the Senior Bowl. He's a local, or he's from Nashville or from Middle Tennessee, and now works for the Commanders. So that is what it is. But grateful to Zach for the cookies, but also, my God. So to the Caleb Farley thing, fine. Zachary Tuttle says pot cookies. No, though it is legal here. That would probably make this primetime show a lot more interesting if I was hiring a kite up here in FedEx Field. But that is what it is. Jay Street says, I wasn't speaking on Farley. I was speaking in general. But, well, who's the other example, right? Jay, like you're not giving me another example. So I'm assuming you're talking about Farley because Farley was the player that they pulled. That's how it goes. Zachary Tuttle says, Bucks high on pot cookies. No. Like I said, it would I would be far more. I don't know if I would be more entertaining if I did the show stoned. And it's legal here in the DMV, so maybe. Well, I guess this would have been our opportunity to mess around and find out. But maybe next time I'll keep you updated. I think I'm going to LA. Maybe we'll try it out there. No, I kid. All right, that's going to do it. No, I'm sorry. We have free site. Free site is coming up next. The question that I'm going to pose to you is this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. What the hell was happening on the New York Giants sideline today in London? The Giants, by the way, 4-1 with a big upset win in London over the Green Bay Packers. 4-1 are Brian Daboll's New York Giants. But an interesting situation occurred that we need to talk about. We need to talk about it right after I remind you that TrueMav Fitness is the place that I'm going to go Monday when I get back to Nashville to work off these damn cookies. Because 200 by Super Bowl is still the goal. I was 214 before I got to Washington. God knows what I weigh now because I probably put on 5 pounds worth of chocolate chip cookies today. But looking at the situation for TrueMav, they are going to put you in a position to succeed. Whether you like group workout settings, whether you are somebody who just wants an open gym concept, whether you are somebody who is interested in personal training, TrueMav Fitness is where you go. In fact, your first fitness class, your first 45-minute boot camp class is free as a Middle Tennessee resident when you go and check out TrueMav Fitness. I promise you're going to love it. If you're going to work out tomorrow, I'm going to be in the 4:30 class. I hope to see some of you guys there, guys and gals, whatever the case may be, for any level of fitness, TrueMavFitness.com. What the hell was happening on the Giants sideline? Producer Reed, maybe not safe for work, but this is a streaming show, so let's go ahead and roll the tape. It's so confusing, Reed. I just want you to play it again. Play it again because I don't know what's going on here. So I saw the Bussin' with the Boys account make a joke, breaking Deshaun Watson traded effective immediately to the Cleveland Browns because, the guy looks like he's getting a rub and tug on the sideline in London. Now, obviously, he's just pulled his pants down so they can work out a cramp maybe in his thigh or something like that, hip, whatever the case may be. But, yes, obviously the optics of dude's half his ass hanging out and, the guy in front of him working a motion up and down that way. I'm not going to do it. You almost caught me. I almost tried to replicate the motion. no shot in hell because the internet lives forever, as my guy just found out for the New York Giants. Whatever it takes, says Mark Jones. Yeah, happy endings are forever, at least, a thigh massage on the sideline when you need it to be, or a hip, whatever the case may be. Now that is going to do it for us tonight on the Primetime Show, live from FedEx Field. Thank you guys, as always, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. I'll be back in Nashville tomorrow before the radio show from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. We'll do it live in Nashville. We'll take your phone calls. We'll walk through this game on every level and discuss at great length a lot of the stuff, a few more of the things than we had the opportunity to do so here. Have a great rest of your evening and a great rest of your weekend. And I will talk to you guys either on the radio show tomorrow at 10 or on A to Z Sports Primetime.
There's Matt. All right, we haven't scored a point since I came in here. I am gone, guys.
What?
That's it?
We got a couple more questions.
No, that's it.
Peace out by the GM.